Oh man, I am talking about a good one today. Hey everybody, it's your boy Nerdicane. This is the best games of my life. This one's very special to me. 1983 Star Wars was put out by Atari. This is the Star Wars arcade game. No, it's not the one you're thinking about, you stupid millennials. This one came out in 1983. It used vector graphics. Everything was green lines. The whole game was made up of green lines, and there's a few other lines mixed in. How awesome was this game? This game was like it put 7-year-old me inside of an X-wing. It was absolutely mind blowing. The things I wouldn't do. I remember the first time I saw this game. My sister, one of my sisters, she took me to Chuck E. Cheese back when Chuck E. Cheese was cool. Back then, Chuck E. Cheese wasn't like things you climb on and stupid stuff like that. Back then, Chuck E. Cheese was like an arcade. Like it was dark, it was dank, it was smelled funny. The ball pit definitely had piss in it. She took me there and my mind was blown. I was like 7 years old, I think 7 or 8. There was a video game, an arcade game of Star Wars, which I didn't think was possible at the time. But I remember the first time I ever got around it and I put my hands on it, I must have been dragging my feet on the carpet because the handle shocked me. And I did it again and it shocked me again. But every time I touched the handle, the yoke, every time I touched the yoke, I got shocked. But it didn't stop me from playing that game. Maybe, you know what? Now that I think about it, maybe there was something wrong with the yoke. It was because it was shocking me every time. And I don't think, now that I think back at it, it might not have been static electricity. It might have been like, I don't know, a hot wire on the handle. But this game was absolutely awesome. It had 3 phases. In the first phase, you were an X-wing in space. You were fighting TIE fighters. First level was very, very easy. His TIE fighters would shoot these quote-unquote lasers at you that looked like little balls, and you could shoot them. You could shoot the balls and destroy them, get them out of the way. It got harder as you went along because eventually you would piss off Darth Vader, and he would come at you, and he had his TIE Interceptor, and it was very different. It was much faster, and it was so fast, it would go in a circle around the screen, and it would shoot lasers at you so much that the difficulty was like, you got into this loop, this trap of, you had to shoot the lasers, stop the lasers from hitting you while trying to manage the time to shoot Vader. And it was really, really difficult. But the second phase was sort of on the Death Star surface when he's flying between the turbo lasers. And that one even got harder too, because eventually, at first they were on the ground, but then they would raise up on these towers. So you had to manage one's on the ground, one's on the towers and the ground one shooting at you at the same time. And then the third part was the absolute best, the trench run. You had to watch out for these force fields. You had to watch out for the turrets inside of there. And you are actually going down, you're doing the trench run. It was kind of amazing for 1983. And I think the first time I ever played it was 1984. The game had probably been out for a little while, but man, this game was awesome. There was a part back when I was about, I think it was 19 or 20, in Valdosta. I was in the Air Force, and it was probably one of the greatest opportunities that I had to pass up in my life. There was this gas station, and the gas station was north of Moody. If you've been to that base, Valdosta, if you've been to Moody, you realize north of Moody, there's nothing. The town is to the south, but if you go north, you're going to be going on Bemis Highway for a long time before you get to anything. But there was this crappy gas station that I just happened to stop at one day. When I walked in, there was an arcade machine, one of the stand-up Star Wars machines. It was gorgeous. It was beautifully kept, just in the middle of South Georgia, nowhere. And it had a for sale sign on. It was for sale, $400. And I had $400 at the time, and I was like, I was losing my mind at the thought of being able to own this. But then I was going to go buy it, but then reality set in. I was living in the dorms. There was no way they were going to let me take it in the dorms. I was driving a Mitsubishi Mirage. There's no way I was going to be able to transport that thing in a Mitsubishi Mirage. So I had to pass up on it. And that was, man, if I could have somehow made that happen back then, 2020 me would have made that happen. Younger me probably didn't have that much resource. It wasn't that clever. I couldn't do it. I had to pass on it, and it hurt. It really hurt to pass on that. But just the immersion of the game for 1983, and that's when this game came out. Um, Absolutely, just incredible to my 7, 8 year old brain. I just lost my mind. They've tried to convert it into home consoles. There was even one for the Commodore 64, and it just never, it never lived up. Even years ago, when one of the Rogue Squadron games came out on the GameCube, if you pre-ordered it, you got a disc that had that old Star Wars arcade game on it. I bought it. I played it. It wasn't the same. There was something about the feel, something about the controls about it, and the controls were really magical. The controls were really special about it because it was a yoke. It was had the two handles that moved together when you went up and down and things like that. If I could convert my car to that yoke, I would. It would be awesome. But here's how much. This is how much I love the game. Back when I was in 5th grade, we did this thing every year. All the classes, all the grades, competed against each other. The homerooms competed against each other in a field day, where the homerooms were pitted against each other as sort of sporting teams. There was a lot of different events. Now I know, probably in 2020, that's absolutely unfathomable. What's probably even more unfathomable is that this field day, the winner of the field day got to go to Chuck E. Cheese. Now, that in 2020 is very unfathomable too, because imagine like one classroom of a school getting to go to Chuck E. Cheese, where everybody else has to stay home and stay at school and do math problems or something like that. That people would be outraged about that. Mostly fat kids, but anyway. So I hatched this plan. 5th grade, I was easily the fastest kid in the entire school. I mean, these I grew up in the suburbs. These white kids had never seen a Mexican kid. They didn't know what a Mexican kid could run like, and that's why I was so much faster than them. But I had this plan. I was definitely the fastest kid. I needed to win this because the winner got to go to Chuck E. Cheese, and Chuck E. Cheese housed the greatest video game of 1983, Star Wars Arcade. So I hatched this plan. There was this other kid named Kevin. He was the second fastest kid in school. The big event was the relay race. It was 440 yards around this track that we had, and it was a 4-man relay race. Everybody, when when the teacher said, "Okay, who's going to be in this one?" Everybody looked at me, and to their shock, I didn't raise my hand. The plan was, okay, Kevin and the 3 other kids who are almost as fast as him can win that event. I don't need to do that. I'm going to do the 50-yard dash, which we're going to win that one. And then I was going to do kind of a wild card event, which was the standing long jump. And I had practiced the standing long jump for a very long time in my parents' bedroom. I remember just practicing over and over the long jump. I was like looking and trying to find the Guinness World Record for the longest standing long jump, which the Olympics didn't even do that. The Olympics stopped doing that like in the 20s, but I was going to set the world record, and I was going to get my homeroom class to go to Chuck E. Cheese. So the day of the event comes, 50-yard dash. I absolutely smoke every other kid in the school. I win that one, no problem. The relay race comes up, and everybody's kind of excited for this. And Kevin and the 3 kids who were running with him, they came in 3rd. Stupid Kevin, because his false bravado, almost lost me my shot at going to Chuck E. Cheese and playing Star Wars. But I was able to pull it out. The class was able to pull it out. I won the long jump easily by 300 feet. I jumped 300 feet further than all the other kids. But that's how motivated I was to win this stupid event, to go to Chuck E. Cheese. Because, my family wasn't wealthy. We didn't go to Chuck E. Cheese. That wasn't a normal thing. That was like a treat that we got very rarely. And I didn't have friends who were wealthy enough to we're doing a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese. I've never had a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese. But that's also, we won and we got to go, and it was amazing. And that was also the day, it's a different story for another time. That's the day that I realized I did not like being Mormon. I'm not Mormon anymore. I stopped being Mormon, but that was the day. That's a totally different story. I'll do that one for you guys some other time. But this game, in my young life, man, there was nothing bigger than Star Wars Arcade. It was amazing. Man, I don't even know. I remember a few years ago when episode 7 came out, Joystick Game Bar in my town in Atlanta, they brought in a collector has an arcade game of that. They brought it in. I had to be at that party. I absolutely had to be at that Star Wars party for the release of Star Wars to play that specific arcade game. That's the last time I've seen it in person. They're becoming more and more rare. You see them pop up on eBay every once in a while. They're like $3,000 to $4,000. I can't even hope to get one of those right now. Maybe that's the dream. If I get enough subscribers, someday I'll be able to afford one of those. That's my dream. But yeah, that's the last time that I saw one of those in person. And just it's the beauty of a video game, and it's a video game that you really love. When you touch it, when you play it again, there's a tactile feeling, and that's what I get when every time I see that game, and every time I actually get to lay my hands on it. Suddenly I'm 8 years old, and I'm in the cockpit of an X-Wing fighter, and I'm taking on the Death Star. And that's really what we love about these video games, is they propel us to a time in our life. I mean, think about if you went back and played Smash Brothers on the N64. Wherever you played Smash Brothers the first time, however old you were, whether you were 8 or whether you were 10, or for me, it was in the dorms, in the military dorms in England, suddenly you're propelled to that time in your life, and you kind of like, if you get tunnel vision in it, you can almost be that age again. And that's really the beauty of things like that. The beauty of nostalgia. You don't want to get caught up in nostalgia and, have it become a big chunk of your life, but just a few moments is always a good thing. But thank you. I want to thank you for taking a few moments of your day to watch me, to listen to my story about one of the greatest video games of my lifetime. I will have more of these. I'm really enjoying these. I have one coming up about Ace Combat, which, man, if you've never played Ace Combat 4, you need to play Ace Combat 4. But thanks for your time. Hit a like, hit a subscribe. You guys go have a good day. And if any of you know where I can find one of these arcade machines for $450, please let me know in the comments. I will go buy it. Bye.